All right, Scott, let's do our first PSVR review.
Yeah.
They're armed.
All right, Nate, this time we're here with Immortal Legacy, the Jade Cipher by Viva Games. And this is our first VR game that I got to jump into for sure. And what do you think?
So this game is kind of confusing. It doesn't really know what it wants to be, but the game is really cool, I must say.
Yeah, we can say that definitively. So we took turns on the PSVR and we got through several sections of this game just super fast. So it was a little hard to, looking back now, we're trying to figure out what this game is about because certain sections are really shootery, which is what I wanted to play in a VR. I was really excited to play that. Other sections are a little more exploration based, where you're kind of going through tunnels and...
There are things that you got to collect through the game that kind of, they're just like little textbook things. So it'll just be little notes, someone talking about the disease that's going around. So the start of the game's about this Zoros, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Zoros fungus that's going around, and it's kind of just starting in the animals and it's killing them, and it's now leaching into humans, people believe. So you start off just parachuting on an island, and then you kind of get oddly saved, and that's it. You don't really know why you're there even.
Yeah, you're just kind of walking through this jungly island, which is, I have to say, I'm not super experienced on VR games, but this one did look pretty good to me.
Yeah.
It was convincing, especially a couple minutes in when you have the VR thing and you've gone down 2 corridors and you're shooting people. It doesn't matter how the game looks at that point. It was definitely good enough.
Yeah.
And the problems I had with the visuals were only really the character models, and there was only a few of them. But on the other hand, we had the cinematics, the cutscenes that I did see, that got super really weird, and I still don't know what this game's about, but those looked amazing. And from a worm's eye view or wherever you were, the camera would put you there and you're just looking at what's happening. And I thought that was a really cool way of showing you kind of, I guess, the more fleshed out parts of the story.
And to kind of add to that, the way they use the VR in this game is not like anything I've seen, or I haven't played a lot of VR games, but for the few that I have, they had some really cool elements. There's this little puzzle kind of game where it's that marble game where you got to put a marble through the maze. So you're kind of staying there, and it feels perfect. It feels like you actually have the box in your hand and you're moving the marble.
All these items you're picking up, especially the ones that made noise, you can move that around your head. So we had a cell phone that was giving us a message, and you could hold it over here, and you get this different sound. You can hold it over here. You can put it behind your head, and it muffles it. You can turn it away, and the sound changes.
It was
the VR
perfect.
Nailed that 3-dimensional space, and they kept up with that throughout the whole game. All these different items you're using. The only problem the thing I didn't like was the guns were a little strange. So it wasn't that they were inaccurate or that I couldn't get used to it, but it had me aiming way down to kind of get the right angle. It
was really confusing for me because when I started the game, they put you right in the tutorial, so to speak. So it's like a firing range. And when you're in there, it is perfect. Like, you point the gun, you shoot, and it shoots exactly where you're aiming. But then, as soon as I got out of the firing range and launched into the fight, I unloaded like 5 clips because I thought I was aiming properly, and it was just going all over the place. So with that, there were some things I was doing wrong, but for the most part, it wasn't as perfect, which I thought was kind of weird.
It was almost like it lost that synchronization with you. Yeah, I did notice that myself.
They didn't move the camera or anything, too, so it wasn't like that kind of fault. It was just the game's got a little bit of jankiness. Just a little bit.
A little bit, but luckily, they save it in good times because there's a lot of different weapons you can use. So if you're not getting the accuracy you need, you can just spray with an Uzi or something like that. Pop around a little corner. I was doing lots of that, spraying it. I was having a good time with the shooting elements.
I like how you don't even have to look around a corner, but you can kind of just put your gun out and just pre-fire.
So I felt totally into this 3D space, and I love this VR era that we're headed towards. I really hope that things pick up. But specifically with this game, I found the shooting was addictive. I kept coming back for the shooting. And the parts that I didn't really like were more related to the exploring and getting trapped in a cave for way too long.
Oh, that was bad.
That part was a grind. But on the other side of that, then you get a cutscene. It kind of makes it cool. The zombies are back. Then there's things to shoot. I mean, it steamrolls into the next section of the game so quickly that it's kind of almost like unattached sections. And I don't know if that's a critique really, because this VR thing is still an experience to me. So it kind of gave me a little bit of the different aspects of VR. Here's a movie you can watch in 3 dimensions. Here's some motion things you can do with your hands. Here's throwing grenades. That surprisingly worked really well for this game. So that's something that VR doesn't seem to get down very often. So I like that it's an overall kind of mixed bag in this game.
Yeah. Honestly, overall, it's a pretty good game, Scott. So let's kind of wrap this up, man. What are you going to score this?
I have to give this a 7.5 because I want to see certain parts of this game be a full game. And that's really my only critique, is that maybe some parts of this game weren't my favorite, but the other parts I'm so hooked on.
And man, I'm actually right there with you. It is a great game. 7.5.
An excellent VR experience, awesome shooter gameplay, and a mysterious story keeps you hooked for long sessions. We just wish it would have been a little more focused.
We always wondered what the future would hold, but we couldn't have imagined how terrible it would be.